March 27th, 2025, 3 p.m., 124K Senator Circle, Homer, Louisiana. All cell phones and other electronic devices used for communication must be turned off or silenced during the duration of the meeting. Mr. Sherman, will you lead us in prayer?
He just had an operation, so he can't always. Sorry.
You can stay seated, Mr. Sherman.
We'll pray the Lord's Prayer together. It's found in St. Matthew, the Gospel, the Bible, and it says as such. God's word is He, and He is forever and infinite, and He's with us. He lives in our soul. So we speak to Him and we read this instead of His word. He who lives in us is everywhere. So He helps us. Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. The pledge. Federation to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Boykin.
Here.
Commissioner Sherman.
Here.
Vice Chair Piku.
Here.
Chairwoman Hebert.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have one public comment.
Order of the day.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's wrong with me today? Order of the day. Go ahead.
The agenda will proceed as published.
Okay. All right. And is it Mr. Ashton?
Ashton. Want to come up here, sir? Right in the middle.
Hi, I'm Richard Ashton.
Mr. Ashton, she needs you to speak a little bit louder so we can get you on.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes, I'm Richard Ashton with AMD Development, and I'm here today to propose a strategy that we have successfully done this in other areas. I've developed thousands of units by doing public-private partnerships and deploying federal resources and private investment together to mend the social fabric of communities and to revitalize communities and to allow residents to stay in place. So the program that we are proposing for the Bayou Towers is utilizing federal housing tax credits. That's something that very early, just our initial analysis shows that we can bring tens of millions of dollars of private investment to completely gut all the way down to the steel and the concrete structure, and go out and rebuild a brand new, amazing, high quality, high end senior development, and invite seniors to come back and live in the community that they enjoy, that they can walk to resources. That is something that is an amazing asset to the housing authority and also to the city. In this, we are not proposing a request for any funding from the housing authority. We're not requesting for any funding other than the federal funding that we bring in through the tax credit program. And so that's something that as part of our process, we do need to do a thorough evaluation. We really need to send in a team of structural engineers and determine what parts of the building can be used, what can't we use. That really is the first step. If it's determined that the building can't be used, or what parts of it can be, we still can roll parts of the building into the eligible basis. And so that's a technicality in the calculation, but for the simple math and just where our current estimate is that the value of the tower brings approximately $10 million of private investment. to that particular property. So, as an example, if you gave us a piece of land anywhere in Houma and $5 million cash in a grant, I'm sorry, I can't build you anything. And I don't think that there's anyone else that could either. But if we revitalize the existing building, we can take advantage of rolling the value of that asset into the program to receive the federal funds that are specifically designated for housing. This is under a bipartisan program. It was created by Reagan. Both sides of the aisle like this program. And actually, our current administration owns one of the largest developments that's ever been developed that utilizes this program. So there's no threat of the resource that we're proposing being cut.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
No, but I'm gonna extend your time.
we're gonna give you some more.
Okay.
Keep on going.
Second.
So in summary, we feel that
We need a second. I'm sorry, we need a second.
I'll second it.
we feel that these resources that are designed specifically for housing should be evaluated and further to see if this truly is feasible. We'll take all of the cost on this. So we will send in a team of engineers. We will determine if this is structurally sound. We have a group of licensed structural engineers that they can make that determination. We have a design team that can create a proposal. We'll do all that at our cost. If I'm wrong, I lose the money. But if we're right, we can preserve a building that preserves the social fabric of Houma and invites residents to come and enjoy a place that they would like to live. We can do this with the federal resources, and this is something that we really think that it's an amazing asset that we'd like to begin the evaluation process so that we can further clarify and give a proper proposal about what can be done, what can't be done. And again, we're not asking for any money, and we're not asking for you to pay for any cost. We'll provide you all of our third-party studies, all of our analysis, so that way you have that for the property that you prefer.
Any questions?
Any questions from me?
Commissioner, any questions?
So y'all go all around the country doing that.
And then we have local developer relationships that as we expand and look for opportunities. Actually, this tower in Houma is very unique. That is an existing building. This program also works for just pure land development, but that works in areas that you have a higher area median income. So in areas that there's a lower area median income, there's a deficit in funding. And so what's amazing is that deficit in funding is bridged by the value of that existing structure. The federal government gives you credit for that, for the basis of that existing structure, which generates at least $10 million in private equity. But it is a federal program that you can do. And it's under Section 42 of the tax code.
High rise. With the board have already ruled on, I'm a new member.
We're waiting
So-
on FEMA.
Waiting on FEMA.
Not just waiting on FEMA. So there's a Section 18 application that I submitted in 2021. Via Towers was only approved to demo. It wasn't approved for us to do a sell a building or anything like that. So maybe in January, HUD came down. Mr. Paul was at the meeting as well. Mr. Pleasure, Jamie, Mr. Danny, and Ms. Cheryl was there also. In order for the Housing Authority to even entertain it, we would have to change that application to a demo dispo application. And it took 2.5 years to get the application that I put in September 21 approved. It got approved February last year. I did speak with her about it right now. They were supposed to come to this meeting, but under the new administration, they have an executive order where they can't travel, they can't come out or whatever. So at the board, like, because I one thing y'all could tell me to do is to go back and revise the application and hope for them to move quick on it. But when I did it in 2021, it was approved for demolition.
It's just
So that's not, it's not that we don't want to do
right.
work with your HUD. Chicago field office have the final say. And that's what it was approved for. I can give you a final copy and give it to Mr. Boykin so you can have the records for your files as well.
If there's not like a hard date on a drop dead date to demo, I've worked with HUD on thousands of units. We could go. We need permission because we want to work together as a team. But we could go. We have legal experts that we will hire and pay for that can go and evaluate options, look at what are the possibilities, set those options before you, and see can you extend, can you not, can you go down a path of looking at redevelopment, and that way you clearly understand what your options are.
So also that would go back on with what the board, I think maybe last year before, you all tasked me to look for land because y'all didn't want to rebuild there. I just want to make sure we clear.
Well,
because,
we're clear on that, but it's my understanding we're having a big problem finding land, correct?
correct. But you also say y'all didn't want to high rise, and we did the tour from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. So I just want to make sure we clear,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whatever y'all task me with, that's what I want to make sure that I'm doing because y'all, I take the direction from you all.
How much is gonna cost to demo that building?
I think like 13 million. Rough. So, but we can't do anything with that building. First of
I
all,
understand.
we have to wait for FEMA finish their assessment. Or we're not trying to offset any of our funds. We lose funding. If we touch that building right now, that's why we go to the council meetings to explain to the council. Even if we had the money from FEMA right now, we still can't demo the building because all Terrebonne Parish emergency equipment is on the top of our building. So we can't even move forward with our demo plan until we have Terrebonne Parish demo plan. And they're waiting on FEMA just like us. So it's gonna sit in limbo for a while until FEMA say, hey, here's y'all money, you know, and we can't do it right now because we'll offset the funds.
So if there's time, we might have time to investigate and provide options. Because it will take us time to do that and do that.
I just was wondering if it's gonna cost 18 million to demo it. We have someone that wanna buy it. I don't know, it just makes business sense to me.
Yeah.
Is that-
You can.
Okay, so my name's Jamie, I'm with the Soldier Group. I do want to kind of weigh in on this a little bit. So there's a lot of different factors, and we've talked about this. I know a couple different instances. I think there's several things. If we could absolutely, if we could not spend the money to demo and put that money in and have housing, that'd be amazing. I think it'd be an incredible. We do need to get through the FEMA process. I think we need to entertain all ideas. Nikki's, she's always said we're open for anything. Going through the FEMA process and the federal process, you know, if we change directions right now, we can throw the FEMA process off. Right? And that's because that train is not it's not a sports car, it's a train. And it's I'm not saying that we can't do that. We're not going to. It's not my decision ultimately, but I'm just saying we are in a process right now until we get an answer from FEMA. Right now, we're going through the 50% evaluation. Once they do that, then we submit a application for, it's called a 428. And that 428 process is to have almost not unencumbered funds, but funds that you can do what you need to with it. As long as you tell FEMA what that process is, but we're still a ways from doing that. And we're getting closer in the FEMA process, but right now we're not there. And what Nikki said a few minutes ago, finding land has been difficult. I've met with several realtors, several landowners, and just buying land they just see it as a housing authority, not thinking about what the potential opportunity is. They're not really open to that. And so one of the things that we've done, and Nikki's advice or request was to have our engineering firm, which is Broadmoor, to look at developing, demoing Bayou Towers, developing that area with potential some sort of housing units.
Start somewhere, in other words.
Yeah, so we
That's
already
what I
have the
gave
land.
y'all at the last meeting. I'm gonna cut you off. That's what I gave you guys at the last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
In case like FEMA would have came back and said, hey, we finished the assessment, then we could have came back with some units. But I was gonna give that in my agency update, but we got to it before.
But I mean, I 100%, if we can not demo that and not have to pay that money, we can invest that into property somewhere else. That'd be the perfect scenario. It really would. But we aren't in a position right now where we can allow someone to go into the buildings and do an assessment. And I said that in an email. I said it on the phone. I said it. We can potentially jeopardize our funding if we change directions right now. And the other part of that is because it's federal money. You know, if we were going to do that, we would have to put solicitations out and allow everyone the opportunity to do the same thing that we're potentially.
Yeah.
We gotta be open.
So yeah, we got to be open and fair about it. And so I think it's a potential win-win in the end if this is a scenario, barring you get it past the parish and the councilman but we would our number one priority is getting people back in housing as quickly as possible. And what's that solution?
So if we could, the process for redevelopment can take some time to go through the federal funding process. It's faster than FEMA, but it's not, it's not half the time. So if we were to proceed on a hypothetical that the building, the structure could be safe all the way down to the stud, we would go at risk on the legal of running a hypothetical. We wouldn't enter the building. We wouldn't need to enter the building until the FEMA is cleared, and then we would do the final structural study. But then we could present an option that you could have that way you keep your money, build more housing in another place, and redevelop on that one. And we, with that strategy, we wouldn't need to enter the building. We would only need to do that, before we, do the plans, because we'd have to send the structural engineers. But that is an option. That there's a lot that we need to do through prepping the to get the federal credits allocated to the building as a condition. And then it always is at the option of the board. We propose to and have money on the table and say, hey, it's here. And if you decide not to proceed with it and tear it down, you can walk away from the money and tear it down. But
And look,
I just don't think that makes good business.
It does, but per procurement policy, that I would take off and run if it wasn't federal and I'm not listening to HUD. That sounds awesome, but our procurement policy, we still have to make sure what we extend it to them, we extend it to everybody, because somebody else will come in and if we don't do the proper procurement policy, we could lose all funding.
Have to open the door for
Everybody, right.
Just
Right.
like we do bids, we have to get so many.
Right.
Yeah.
Today too, I guess.
Right. And that's why when he reached out, I said I had no problem because I wanted him to get it out to the board just so we could explain and we all could be on the same page. It's an awesome idea. If it wasn't federal, I think we could just say we could do it right now, but it's federal and we have people,
Yeah,
rules and
That's the problem with federal, it just takes time. It takes time.
And just real quick, one of the key points that you said is you guys can have the money to buy other land. The buying other land is where we have really run into a lot of roadblocks. We're working with a realtor. We've looked at it's pretty extensively, and we try to do it, kind of under the radar for the most part, but we're just having difficulty now. There's a coalition, or what's it called, the South Central Development. South Central Plan, which Mr. Bergeron is on. But we're still running into problems with the housing authority procuring land. Even there's a resettlement, and it is as much as he's trying to help, we're still having that problem.
Typically what happens is public-private partnerships, which I'm doing something with the city of Houston, where I procure the land for the city of Houston and then brought that to them. And then sometimes the city of Houston, so they have in their procurement policy where private developers can propose and then go through a process. They also have where on owned land that's owned by the city or the county that they open up for RFPs and RFQs. We would love to submit an RFP or RFQ if there were one open, floors.
I
And
guess we
then,
got
you know, you can do whatever you want to with your money. You don't have to go find land and buy it. You could, I mean,
We have to build units. So we have to find a way to have the same amount of units because of HUD, that's the requirement in order to
The
get.
fair price,
Right.
yeah.
You have to have the same amount of
300.
units. It's not-
but if you've got less the demo cost,
Oh, it
I'm
definitely
sure that
helps.
opens up more opportunities because
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's
a lot of land.
I mean, just being transparent, one of the problems that we have is not about how much money we have to buy the land. It's who is buying the land. And we
Well, I would open up an RFQ for private developers.
say again.
I would open up an RFQ for private developers in all of Louisiana to invite them to secure sites and bring them to you. That's what every other housing authority does.
Okay, Mr. Ashton, very interesting. I'm like
Yes,
her, I
yes,
wish
thank
we
you,
could
thank
just
you.
take it and run, but
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. Okay, next we have the approval of minutes from January 28th, 2025 regular board meeting. I need a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sherman, seconded by Mr. Piku. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Bills and communications. Approval of pay vouchers for the period of January 11th to March 14th, 2025. I need a motion. Motion by Mr. Piku, seconded by Mr. Burke. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Monthly financial reports, November 2024. Memo from fee accountant to Board of Commissioners. Balance sheet for November 2024. Income and expense statements for November 2024. Public housing financial assessment score for the month of November 2024. Bank reconciliation. Monthly financial reports, December 2024. Memo from fee accountant to Board of Commissioners. Balance sheet for December 2024. Income and expense statements for December 2024. Public housing financial assessment score for the month of December 2024. Bank reconciliation. Report of the Secretary, Executive Director, Agency update.
Okay, my agency update is in y'all packets, but it's a few things that I want to elaborate on.
Okay.
I did put this at all of y'all station. I came around and talked to y'all about it. Y'all need to let Naquata know by April 1st if y'all would like to attend. It's in Baton Rouge from April 28th to May 2nd. So don't forget, April 1st. That's next Tuesday.
Right.
Let Naquata know if y'all interested in
Okay.
going. The second week of April, third week from April 14th, I will be at a National Hurricane Conference because every May I do update our hurricane plans. So just to see if there's more information out there for us to put in our plan so I can give it to the board approval because I'll bring that to y'all for the meeting for May. I'm gonna pull Jamie towards the end because I want to let the board know what we're doing with Senator Circle. We're trying to, so about 16 or 20 buildings did not make the 50% with FEMA. So
Does our new commissioner know about the 50? What that means? You might want to explain it too.
okay, the 50% rule. So we don't have to demo all of the units in Senator Circle because they didn't make the 50% rule. Jamie is our FEMA guy. Jamie, can you elaborate a little bit more because you know a little bit more detail about the 50% rule and what we can and can't do.
So one of the things, there's a few different things. There's two different 50% we have to look at. One is through the FEMA public assistance. And if it's 50%, more than 50% to repair them, FEMA will pay to replace them. And we still haven't got the approval for that replacement on the ones that do make the 50%. The other 50% is it's called substantially damaged, and that's through the National Flood Insurance Program. There's also another FEMA program, but that's the left hand and right hand, and they just don't talk. So one of the things that we're doing is we have the architect, the ones that we feel like are not going to make that FEMA PA 50%. We are working on getting a scope of work and getting the cost to repair them. And that repair, it goes to the market value. So if it's more than 50% to repair these, then they are substantial damage, and then you would have to elevate those units to meet the National Flood Insurance Program. If it's less than 50%, then we potentially we could repair them. The ideal scenario would be anyone that does not make that 50% as far as the PA program, and they aren't substantially damaged, then we would use, like obviously with approval, is the insurance money and then potentially capital improvement funds, and we would pull those out of the FEMA public assistance program. And so that's really, it seems like that's going to be the fastest way to get these back up and running. We shifted gears just a few weeks ago. I met with the architects last week on Friday, and I missed a couple of calls today. We're aggressively pursuing that, and then on the other side of that, Drew and I have been looking at how to, what's the fastest way to get these back up and running. And again, we feel like there's potentially 20 units that we could do that with. And, one of the difficult parts is, we're 3 years into it, and I wish we had done this before, but we are where we are, and Nikki's been pressing on me to get some sort of answer on this as quickly as possible.
So how soon could we start on these units, the 16 or?
Well, the 20, as soon as we get a scope of work.
And that's what Drew's been doing the last couple of weeks. Drew's been going in the units, adjusting.
It'd be something,
Yeah, exactly. And so and what we're trying to do, and it's difficult because those units aren't in one area. How do you have, 40 acres of land here and not have, a house, each house have 20 an acre of land that they're on? How do you kind of cluster those and make it make sense functionally and not look like a ghost land and have the services that you need? So that's the other part of it too. What makes sense. If they don't meet the 50% for FEMA, they do give the repair cost, and so if they're not substantially damaged, we got to figure out what to do if they're in a separate area, and that's going to be a bigger area. Once we get the numbers on those, we see where the locations are, then we'll put together. The architect will put together a program or an overall overlay, like you guys saw on the last board meeting. There's a packet that shows where they would be located and figure out where to go from there.
Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, and just to elaborate a little, I think right now with the economy and with the rents we need to bring back something because people can't afford what the rent is.
And the rent's going up because the insurance is going up.
Right,
so,
right. So
yeah.
I feel like once we put those units back online, the residents that we had, they have the right to return. And if they don't, we go to the next person. And then once we go to all our residents and they don't want to return, then we'll go back to our waiting list that we had prior to item.
Okay.
There's a lot of things to consider inside that, and then the Bayou Towers, we spoke about that, but it's getting closer to the end of that process.
I
We'll
hope so.
know something, and but in the meantime, we're still pushing forward.
Y'all have any questions for Jamie, commissioners?
Happy to entertain any questions.
Okay.
I got I'm still,
Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Just want to ask it.
No. Also, national corrosion. We were moving all the gas lines in Senator Circle, and they did mention before they could start any of the work, it has to be vacated. We still have the 2 grievance residents that's on the property, so until then, we'll just push it back.
You may want to explain it to him.
Okay.
Yeah. So
We had a few residents that filed the grievance last June, July. We settled. I think it was June, July. They were supposed to move out by August 31st. We assisted with the voucher program. When they had the vouchers back in 2021, when we worked with Wisconsin, they had the vouchers in hand. They didn't utilize their vouchers. So when I reached back out to Wisconsin ED again, he said no, he's not going to renew them because he lost the admin fee. So those residents that didn't utilize those vouchers had to go apply at TPCG. Well, what happened was TPCG also had a shortfall because of Home of Terrebonne Housing Authority residents because they didn't utilize the voucher. So by them not utilizing the vouchers that we gave them, Terrebonne Parish is in a shortfall as well. So it's not the housing authority fault that they didn't utilize their vouchers. I'm not saying it's their fault, but we could not renew vouchers when we done gave you a voucher in hand and you chose not to use it.
What residents we talking about?
Well, we had 2 that's left that's still on the property.
They won't leave. We tried to evict them, the whole bit.
Yeah, so right now, since August of 2021, they haven't paid rent, utilities, anything. And we did settle with them June last year. They were supposed to be out by August 31st.
And they're still here. And didn't you find housing for them in Morgan
Yes,
City?
I found housing in Morgan City
Yeah, I thought so.
and Thibodeau, and they refused. They said that that was too far out the way. And I found them. They're in right now 3 bedrooms. I spoke with Mr. Clarence in Morgan City. I spoke with Bella Petrie in Thibodeau, and they both refused. They called housing Tiffany, and they told Tiffany they were not living there.
How you settle with them, they still there.
Part of the condition of resolution was that we identify housing for them to move to that county. The rest of it, because it's still involved in litigation, we need to go into an executive session
Right.
to talk about the next steps.
We can talk to Mr. Boykin after.
Yeah, I don't
You
mind
and-
discussing with you after, I just can't.
So have we tried evicting them again? I mean,
So
we
we
have?
need to reserve
Yeah,
those comments and those strategy
Okay.
discussions,
Yeah.
because there is
Okay,
a
Litigation.
lawsuit.
gotcha.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, Dickie. I know you're not done.
Want to give the board an update. I spoke with Mr. Danny about it when it happened a few weeks back. While driving past Bayou Towers, I noticed that it had some trucks and stuff inside of Bayou Towers. So I pulled in. It was my off day, but I pulled in to see what was going on. And when I pulled up, it had some contractors there that was contracted through Terrebonne Parish to add a utility pole and there's something else. Chris, what? A utility pole, and I think y'all added a generator. So when I pulled in, I was unsure. I called Nicole, I called Justin. None of us knew what was going on. So the code that we have at Bayou Towers, we only give that to staff, and we give it to the fire chief, police chief, and then they give it to like whoever works for them that's on the fire department or the police department. We're asking that subcontractors, contractors, they don't get that. They shouldn't be privy to the codes at Bayou Towers, because we had a lot of stuff that was going on with stuff coming up missing at both sites. A lot of damages that we didn't know who did what. So I did speak with the fire chief, Mr. Corey. He was very apologetic about it, and he said he would take care of it. We did change the code at Bayou Towers, and I gave him the new code. But there's improvements being done at Bayou Towers, and we still on the condemnation list. We still trying to condemn the building, but there's work that's being done at Bayou Towers. And of course, the equipment is still on the top of Bayou Towers as well. So with our demo plan, Jamie's going to elaborate on that. I think it's the item 17 or something like that. We cannot complete our demo plan for Homer Terrebonne Housing Authority because we need Terrebonne Parish plan.
Right.
What they're going to do with the emergency equipment that's on top of Bayou Towers before we can move forward to do anything. So don't want the board to think that we're not working on a demo plan. It's just we can't complete it until we know their plan, because their plan has to be a part of our plan because they're on top of our building.
And they can't do it right now, evidently.
Well, they should have an update mid-April. That's what Chris told me before the board meeting started.
Okay.
Okay. Next item, I did put it in your packets as well. I had an audit with GOSEP. They sent us a recommendation letter in regards to an inventory plan that we need just for GOSEP. We didn't have one of inventory plan for GOSEP because we hadn't used any of their funds yet to start the plan. But we have a procurement policy here where Tamara intakes all equipment that we buy, and we have a plan I put in the in y'all packet as well, so y'all can see exactly what when we do buy equipment. Y'all gonna see how we're gonna tag it and leave it.
Gotcha.
Also, at the next meeting, y'all have a hard copy of the audit. We had our annual audit in January.
That went well.
Yes, waiting for our no findings.
Awesome.
They're mailing us the hard copy so I can give the board their copy. I'm gonna send one to HUD and one also to the parish president. So in May, y'all have your hard copy. Okay. We did purchase a vehicle for Doosan Housing Authority. That's for us to go back and forth to Doosan, so we don't take the car from Homer Terrebonne and leave the ladies here stranded for a ride. So we have a vehicle that we go back and forth to Doosan in. Also, I spoke with Mr. Ed Traplin last month and Ms. Janelle from the Housing Authority Insurance Group in reference to The lawsuit that we had with Stephen Lane with the modulars, the lot rent, all of
yeah.
that. So we did appeal the judge ruling, and once I get an update, I'll let you all know what the update is on that judgment.
Okay.
So that would be an executive session.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
Any questions?
Any questions, guys? Okay. Okay, next we have reminder of state of Louisiana requirement that all public servants, HTHA employees, and board members receive 1 hour of ethic training each year. That's due already? Okay, and y'all send us a link or something, right?
Yes. Nicole was saying.
Okay,
Yes.
so guys, just do it when she sends it. They'll know if you didn't.
It's also in their packet.
Okay, okay. Reminder to HTHA Board of Commissioners completing the annual Tier 2.1 personal financial disclosure statement on or before May 15th, 2025. Next, we have discussion and possible action relative to resolution number D1072-25 adopting Doosan Housing Authority fiscal year 2025 operating budget FY beginning 4/1/2025 and ending 3/31/2026. I'll need a motion on that. Motion by Mr. Piku, seconded by Mr. Sherman. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action relative to resolution D1073-25 authorizing advertisement for public review and 45-day comment period. The Doosan Housing Authority's draft 2022 annual action plan and 5-year plan.
And that's in your packet as well.
Okay. Yeah. So I need a motion. Motion by Mr. Sherman, second by Mr. Piku. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action relative to resolution 1074-25 authorizing advertisement for public review and 45-day comment period. The Home and Terrebonne Housing Authority draft 2025 annual action plan and 5-year plan. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Sherman, second by Mr. Burke. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action relative to resolution 1075-25 proclaiming May 8th, 2025 as State Employee Recognition Day. Motion by Mr. Piku, seconded by Mr. Burke. All in favor?
And we would like the board to attend like y'all usually do. So I'll send out the details once we start making arrangements.
Okay, I think I can make it this year. I've never made it yet. Okay, discussion and possible. Did I do that? I didn't get a motion.
Yes.
15 or 16.
14. We did that?
Yes.
We did 14. Okay, next we have discussion and possible action resolution number 1076-25 relative to Home and Terrebonne Housing Authority's authorization of sale of surplus property to highest bidder.
It's in a packet as well. Remember we extended it because we didn't have any
Yeah.
So get rid of it.
Motion by Mr. Burke, second by Mr. Piku. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action relative to resolution number 1077-25 updating HTHA authorized names of signatures for issuing and signing checks by adding HTHA Commissioner Jerome Boykin and deleting former HTA Commissioner Larry Voplan. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Boykin, second by Mr. Burke. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action relative to updating the Home and Terrebonne Housing Authority profile on certain accounts. the pledge agreement and savings certificate at South Louisiana Bank of Homer, Louisiana, and Synergy Bank of Homer, Louisiana, in order to make current the names of authorized signers, Nikita Gilton, Cheryl Chauvin Hebert, Michael Jean Burke, Donald Sherman, Danny Piku, and Jerome Boykin on these accounts and removing all others. Motion by Mr. Piku, second by Mr. Sherman. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action relative to task order by Broadmoor Design Group evaluating the land located at 7490 Park Avenue, Homer, Louisiana, 70364, and 7510 Park Avenue, Homer, Louisiana, 70364.
Just to let you know, Mr. G, you were correct. You mentioned about the bridge, that work that's on side of the lot that we have across from Bayou Towers.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to build on there, and I'm gonna let Jamie give the update from the A&E firm. It's not gonna be cost effective for us to move forward. So I'm gonna yield to Jamie so Jamie can give you all the update what we found at those two sites.
That, it really, it's not cost effective. You absolutely could build on it, but it's cost prohibitive because of the being on the bayou and the work that's got to go in there, for maybe 4 units, 4 people, it wouldn't be the best use of the money. So I'm not sure, what you want to do other than that, but
So
you were right, Mr. G.
you were right, Mr. G. Y'all want to sell it? You can sell it.
It's the architect and engineers that you last week, our last meeting.
Last meeting, January, they came and gave the update, and you asked.
I thought it was kind of
you all.
small. I don't even know I would bought that.
So,
You said name them?
Broadmoor,
It's Dean and Hunter Duplanche. Okay.
They're a big organization.
They're actually not big, but they do some big work. They have some great partners, and they said they'll do whatever
So
what
should
you
we
guys
sell it?
want. They absolutely can develop the site, but it doesn't make sense for potentially 4 units. Or, yeah.
But that's 2 on each lot.
Yeah, it's such a small lot. And the other part of that is it's right on that major thoroughfare too. It's just
Okay.
that it just doesn't make sense.
So we're not gonna.
Bridge right there.
Yes, sir. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. However,
Interesting site, be difficult there because of the traffic.
yes, sir.
It's yeah.
So we have property that we're not gonna use it. It's not gonna be anything, why not sell it?
We can entertain that next meeting.
But since this update, I guess y'all go in and do
Right.
meeting of the minds and figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on that?
So we don't need a motion or anything?
No.
Okay. Okay, good. We'll revisit that.
Okay.
Oh, you're not
The
done?
next, no, it's the next one.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
You have to read it. You can read it. Read it. Yeah, number 19.
Well, that's what I was gonna do.
No, I wasn't talking to you.
Oh.
I was talking to Jamie.
Okay. I thought maybe y'all was still on 18 and I shouldn't go forward.
No.
Okay, discussion and possible action relative demolition plan for Bayou Towers by Broadmoor Design Group.
So Broadmoor Design Group, our architect and engineering firm, they've started with the preliminary, and they got a major portion of the demolition plan. But, and Nikki talked about this at the beginning of the meeting, they can't complete that until we understand what's going to happen with the communication program. I don't need to point at you. That's what it was a discussion. Yeah. And so, I know there's still a lot left, but we wanted to have, if we are going to demolish this, we want to be able and potentially rebuild or repurpose that land or sell the land. We want to have a plan in place, and that's all eligible through FEMA funding. As this demolition plan is part of the project. So, but as of right now, it can't go any further until we get the plan from the parish on what they're going to do with the emergency communication equipment. Y'all have any
Any
questions?
questions?
No, I think we got it. We just sit and wait.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have, I'm sorry, Jamie, is that all? I should have
No,
asked
that's
first.
it. That's it.
Okay. Next we have commissioner comments. Any comments, commissioners? Okay, we move on. Next regular board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, 3 p.m. 124K Senator Circle, Homer, Louisiana 70363. And I need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Sherman, seconded by Mr. People. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.